Are we really ready to leave Earth behind and live on Mars? Can our technology and human spirit handle the harsh reality of another planet? What if the challenges of Mars are too great for us to overcome? Today, we'll dive into why Mars might never become our new home. For decades, the idea of colonizing Mars has captivated scientists, explorers, and dreamers alike. The red planet, with its barren landscape and mysterious atmosphere, seems like the next great frontier for humanity. Figures like Elon Musk have fueled this ambition, talking about transforming Mars into a thriving colony where humans could live, work, and even raise families. The dream of creating a backup Earth feels like an exciting step toward our survival as a species. But why are we so obsessed with this idea? It's not just about adventure or curiosity. Colonizing Mars represents something deeper, a chance to secure humanity's future. What if Earth becomes uninhabitable due to climate change, overpopulation, or some global catastrophe? Having a second home on Mars might be our insurance policy. Plus, there's the potential for scientific breakthroughs, technological advancements, and the possibility of using Mars resources to fuel our future growth. However, before we get carried away, we need to face the reality of what it would mean to live on Mars. Imagine the isolation. Mars is, on average, 225 million kilometers away from Earth. The delay in communication alone would make it hard to stay connected to life back home. And that's just the emotional aspect. Life on Mars would be far from the exciting adventure we imagine. The planet is barren, with a hostile environment that offers no breathable air, no liquid water on the surface, and temperatures that can plunge to -60 degrees Celsius on a regular day. The psychological toll would be immense. Living on a planet where everything, every breath, every sip of water, every step, depends on technology to keep you alive is a challenge few can truly comprehend. Humans are deeply connected to Earth in ways we don't even realize. Our natural environment, the greenery, the air, the sunlight, all of these things keep us grounded and emotionally balanced. Could we ever really feel at home on a planet so alien? While the dream of colonizing Mars is thrilling, the question remains, are we truly prepared for the harsh reality of life on another planet? Or is this just another fantasy, doomed to collapse under the weight of impossible challenges? Mars may look intriguing from a distance, but up close, it's an unforgiving world. The red planet presents a hostile environment that challenges even the most advanced technologies we've developed. First, let's talk about the basics, the atmosphere. Mars' atmosphere is incredibly thin and composed mostly of carbon dioxide, with almost no oxygen. This means humans would need to rely entirely on artificial habitats just to breathe. And even if we could build domes or underground cities, we'd still have to produce oxygen continuously, a task far more complex and risky than it sounds. Then there's the temperature. Mars is a freezing cold planet, with average temperatures around -60 degrees Celsius, dropping even further at night. Keeping people warm in such conditions would require enormous amounts of energy, which presents another challenge. How do we sustainably generate power on a planet with such extreme conditions? Solar power would be unreliable due to frequent dust storms that can last for weeks, blocking out sunlight. Perhaps the most dangerous aspect of Mars, however, is the radiation. Unlike Earth, Mars doesn't have a protective magnetic field or thick atmosphere to shield us from harmful cosmic radiation and solar flares. This constant exposure to radiation would pose serious health risks, such as increased cancer rates and neurological damage. Even with protective suits and shielded habitats, colonizers would still be exposed to levels of radiation that far exceed what we experience on Earth. Finally, there's the issue of water. Although scientists have found evidence of frozen water beneath the surface of Mars, accessing it and turning it into drinkable water would require complex and energy-intensive technology. And without a stable water source, agriculture and food production become nearly impossible. This means Mars settlers would be reliant on shipments from Earth for basic survival needs, making true independence a distant and potentially unreachable goal. Mars is not just a cold, distant neighbor. It's a world that actively works against human life. Every aspect of survival, air, water, warmth, protection from radiation, would be a constant struggle. The question we must ask ourselves is, can we overcome these challenges with technology, or are we attempting to settle in a place fundamentally incompatible with life as we know it? While we've made incredible advancements in space technology, we're still far from having the tools necessary to sustain life on Mars long term. The technology required to build habitats, generate oxygen, produce food, and shield colonizers from radiation is still in its infancy. And even if we could develop these systems, they would need to function flawlessly in an extremely hostile environment, a near impossible feat. Beyond the technical challenges, there's the enormous cost. Establishing a Mars colony would require trillions of dollars, making it one of the most expensive undertakings in human history. Everything from transporting materials, building infrastructure, to ensuring a steady supply of resources from Earth would be a massive financial burden. Worse, Mars lacks easily accessible resources to make the colony self-sufficient, meaning constant shipments from Earth would be essential for survival. In the end, colonizing Mars isn't just a technological challenge, it's an economic one. The costs, both financial and human, could be too great for us to bear. Beyond technology and economics, there's the human factor. Our bodies and minds simply aren't built for life on Mars. One of the biggest challenges is gravity. Mars is only about 38% of Earth's gravity, which might sound fun at first, but in the long term, it could cause serious health issues. Prolonged exposure to low gravity weakens muscles, bones, and even affects the heart. Astronauts on the International Space Station already experienced this, but they returned to Earth. Martian colonists wouldn't have that option. Then there's radiation. Unlike Earth, Mars doesn't have a magnetic field to protect us from harmful cosmic rays. Exposure to this radiation over time could lead to higher risks of cancer, reproductive issues, and cognitive decline. The effects on human reproduction are particularly concerning. We don't know how radiation and low gravity might affect pregnancy, but the risks could make it difficult to raise a sustainable population. On top of the physical risks, there's the psychological toll. Living in small, confined spaces, cut off from Earth, with no natural environment, could have serious mental health consequences. Isolation, loneliness, and the stress of surviving in a constant state of danger could lead to depression, anxiety, and even more severe psychological problems. Humans are deeply connected to Earth's natural rhythms, the sky, the sun, the seasons. Mars offers none of that, and it's unclear how well we'd adapt to such an alien world. In short, Mars would push the limits of human biology and psychology. Our bodies aren't designed for it, and our minds might not be able to endure it. While the dream of colonizing Mars inspires curiosity and innovation, it forces us to confront the limitations of human ambition. Mars is not Earth, and no amount of technology can fully recreate the home we've evolved to live on for millions of years. Our bodies and minds are intricately tied to Earth's environment, the air we breathe, the gravity that holds us down, the natural cycles that influence our health and well-being. Even if we could overcome the technological and financial barriers, and even if we could shield ourselves from radiation and sustain life with artificial systems, there's a deeper question to consider: should we colonize Mars? Are we prepared to invest unimaginable resources and risk human lives for a future on a planet that will always be inherently hostile to us? Is it worth trying to make Mars livable, or should we focus our efforts on saving the planet we already have? In the end, the allure of Mars is a reflection of our relentless drive to explore, expand, and conquer new frontiers. But perhaps the greatest challenge we face isn't conquering space, it's learning to live sustainably on Earth. After all, we've barely scratched the surface of understanding and caring for our own planet. If we can't protect the home we already have, what hope do we have of building a new one on Mars? Before we look to the stars for salvation, we must first take care of the world beneath our feet. The challenges of colonizing Mars are immense, but the challenges of preserving Earth are just as urgent. So, let's shift our focus. What if we applied the same energy, resources, and creativity we've reserved for Mars towards ensuring a livable, thriving future here on Earth? Share your thoughts. Is it time to rethink our priorities?